Welcome back to Deep Dive English. I'm your host, and today we are decoding the secret language of charisma.
It's a topic that I think really fascinates people. For so long, we've treated charisma like it's some kind of magic.
Like some divine spark, yeah.
Exactly. Like you're either born with it or you're not. And today, we're here to, pull back that curtain and show you that it's actually a science. There are mechanics behind the magic.
Absolutely. And think about it. Have you ever met someone who just instantly attracts everyone? Someone who walks into a room and it doesn't matter if it's a party or a boardroom, and they just, I don't know, they light it up.
They just have this gravity to them.
Yes, and they don't even seem to be trying. Today, we're going to explain the psychology and the actual behaviors behind WHY that happens. So based on some really insightful material that you, our listeners, have sent our way, our mission today is to unpack that formula. We're going to prove that charisma isn't a gift. It's a set of skills.
Learnable skills.
Totally learnable skills rooted in social intelligence.
And that's the whole starting point, right?
Right.
That reframing is everything. The old myth that you have it or you don't, it's just so limiting.
It lets you off the hook.
It does. But in social psychology, we just reject that. We see charisma as a system of observable nonverbal behaviors that anyone, truly anyone who's willing to practice, can master.
Okay, so let's dig into that scientific approach right away, because that moves this whole conversation from, like, philosophy to something actionable. If it's not magic, what's the formula?
The core of it all, and where we have to start, is what we can call the charisma equation.
Okay.
The source material lays out this beautifully simple formula. It's
Yeah.
charisma equals warmth plus competence.
Warmth plus competence.
Yes, and it's not one or the other. It's not optional. You need both of them operating at a pretty high level to have that sustainable, real influence.
And they have to work together, because if one is high and the other's low, you get a very predictable and definitely not charismatic result.
A very predictable imbalance.
Yeah. So let's define these. Let's start with the foundation. Warmth. What are we actually signaling when we demonstrate warmth?
So warmth it's all about our perceived intent. It's about kindness, approachability, and I think most importantly, it's about conveying good intentions. Psychologically, you have to think about what the brain is doing. The second you meet someone, your amygdala, your primal brain, is asking one question.
Are you a friend or a foe?
Are you a friend or a foe?
Exactly.
Is this person safe? Are they on my team? Or are they here to compete with me?
That's fascinating. So we think of it as just being nice, but you're saying it's actually a survival instinct.
It's pure survival instinct. If you fail that primal test, if you come across as, cold or guarded or just indifferent, it doesn't matter how smart you are.
Right.
Their defenses go up. Warmth is what disarms people. It's signal through, real smile, one that actually reaches your eyes.
Yeah.
Open body language. It's the key that unlocks the door.
Okay, so warmth gets us in the door. Now, what about the other side of that equation? Competence. What are we measuring there?
Competence is all about capability. Can you get things done? It signals skill, intelligence, effectiveness. Basically, can you deliver on what you promise?
So it answers that second big question.
Right. Can you actually help me or lead me?
And for a lot of professionals, this is the part they focus on almost exclusively, right? The degrees, the certifications, the job titles.
All of it. But they often miss how competence is signaled non-verbally. And that's where the social intelligence part comes in.
How so?
Well, competence isn't just your resume, it's how you deliver your expertise. Non-verbally, it's things like having a steady vocal tone, a confident pitch. It's not using a lot of filler words like and
Because that signals hesitation?
It signals hesitation or that your thoughts are disorganized. A competent, charismatic person projects a kind of physical and vocal stability. Their communication feels organized.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me, the imbalance. Because I
Yeah.
think most of us, especially at work, we lean one way or the other, and that creates these huge blind spots.
Absolutely. Let's look at those scenarios, maybe as archetypes. They really illustrate why you need both working together.
Perfect. Let's start with the classic profile. High competence, low warmth. This is the brilliant surgeon or the genius coder. They're incredible at what they do. But their communication is just flat. They don't smile. They see personal connection as a waste of time.
Right. And that person, they might earn a lot of respect for their work, but they're seen as distant.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little scary or intimidating.
They have that aura of unapproachability.
That's a great way to put it. People admire their results, but they don't trust the person. They inspire compliance because you have to follow their brilliant plan,
Mhm.
but they never inspire real loyalty.
So you'd hire them, but you wouldn't want to grab a coffee with them.
Never. Because their brilliance creates this barrier. Think of that archetypal academic genius who can solve any equation but just sighs when you ask a simple question.
They make you feel stupid for asking.
Exactly. Their high competence is completely wasted from an influence perspective
Yeah.
because they fail the warmth test. The audience immediately thinks, they're smart, but they don't care about me.
Okay, so let's flip it. Let's do high warmth, low competence. This is the person everyone loves. They're super friendly, a great listener, genuinely kind.
The office cheerleader.
Yes. They pass the friend test with flying colors, but
Yeah.
they consistently miss their deadlines. Their advice, while it's well-meaning, is just not practical.
So this person is seen as kind, but ultimately ineffective.
Like the professional equivalent of a golden retriever.
Right. Lovable, but you're not going to let them drive the car.
Exactly. They get overlooked for the big decisions. They're great for a coffee break, but they just don't have that gravity to really lead. Their likability actually masks a lack of real influence.
And this leads to a very specific kind of career stagnation, doesn't it? They're always given the supportive tasks because their perceived incompetence just cancels out how approachable they are.
So true charisma is that sweet spot, that magnetic intersection.
It's the nexus where the high warmth makes the high competence feel safe and accessible. The combined message is, I'm on your side, and I'm highly capable of helping you succeed.
And that creates trust, attraction, influence.
Effortless influence. And this isn't just an idea, it's an action. It's expressed through what we're calling presence.
Which brings us perfectly to our next section. Let's dive into part 2. Core skill 1, presence, and active listening. I mean, in today's world, the whole idea of presence has become almost legendary, hasn't it?
It really has. It's so rare. I mean, all presence really means is being fully, 100% in the moment.
Simple, but not easy.
Not at all. We live in the age of perpetual partial attention. Our phones are buzzing, our watches are vibrating. Our focus is constantly fragmented.
And because that's the default state?
Because that's the default, giving someone your full undivided attention has become a kind of social superpower.
It really has. Just think about your own experience the last time someone was talking to you but, glancing at their phone, even for a split second. It immediately sends a message. Something else might be more important than you right now. It's so invalidating.
And the opposite is what charismatic people do. The phone is gone. It's put away. Their posture, their gaze, it's all locked on you. And that pure validation, that feeling of being the priority, it's incredibly powerful.
So if presence is the overall state, then active listening is the main way we prove it. We should probably clarify. This isn't just hearing words, right?
Not at all. Hearing is passive. It's just sound waves hitting your eardrum. Active listening is a deliberate, conscious behavior. It's the set of actions that makes the other person feel like they are the only person in the room.
So what are the mechanics of that? It's got to be more than just nodding and saying, uh-huh.
It's about creating these constant feedback loops.
Right.
Non-verbally, it's that sustained eye contact we'll talk more about later, a slight forward lean. But crucially, it's about controlling your own brain.
Controlling the urge to interrupt.
Resisting that urge.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part for a lot of high achievers. We're all guilty of listening just enough to find a gap to jump in with our own story or solution.
You're just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. That's the enemy of charisma. When you're truly actively listening, you're using your brain power to synthesize their message, not to rehearse your own.
So verbally, what does that sound like?
It sounds like summary phrases. Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, your 3 biggest concerns are X, Y, and Z. Or it's asking open-ended questions that go deeper, not just when is the deadline. But that sounds really tough. How did that shift impact your team's morale?
So you're showing you heard not just the facts, but the feeling behind them.
Precisely. You're signaling that they're important, that they're respected. And when someone feels truly understood, they become so much more receptive to whatever you have to say later. It lubricates the entire conversation.
I have to share a quick story here. I was interviewing someone very senior, very important, and mid-question, I saw their eyes just drift, just for a second over my shoulder.
Oh, that's the worst.
And it completely derailed me. The spell was broken, and I spent the rest of the interview feeling like I had to earn their attention back. That's how fragile presence is.
It's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Your brain registers that micro-betrayal instantly. The charismatic person knows that their focused attention is the most valuable currency they have to spend.
And that connection you build, that feeling of being heard, It leads us right into the next skill. Let's talk about part 3. Core skill 2, building rapport through mirroring.
Right. So once you've established presence, you need to build rapport. And we can define rapport as that instant, effortless feeling of connection, of being on the same wavelength with someone.
And why is that so critical? If you're competent and you're paying attention, isn't that enough?
You'd think so, but rapport is the foundation that influence is built on. Without it, your brilliant ideas just hit a wall of skepticism. When you have rapport, influence flows freely. It sort of bypasses the critical, judgmental part of the other person's brain.
So how do charismatic people create that feeling, especially with people they've just met?
The source material points to a very specific and kind of sneaky technique. Mirroring.
Mirroring is. It's a fascinating and incredibly effective nonverbal technique. You subtly, and I have to stress the word subtly, you subtly copy the other person's body language.
So their posture, their gestures.
Their posture, their pace of speaking, even their vocal tone. It's a really ancient, primal way of bonding that signals we are the same.
Let's break that down for someone who wants to try this. We're not talking about being a mime, right? If they scratch their nose, you don't immediately scratch your nose.
God, no, that would be so creepy. Subtlety is everything, and there's always a delay. So, for example, if they lean forward to make a point, you might wait a few seconds, and then as you respond, you also lean forward slightly. You're synchronizing, not mimicking.
And you mentioned vocal mirroring. Yes, and that's often the most powerful form. If someone speaks slowly and deliberately, a charismatic person will naturally slow their own pace down a bit.
Yeah.
If they speak quietly, you don't boom your response. You match their energy.
Okay, so what is happening in the brain when we do this? What's the psychological trick?
It's all about our mirror neuron system. These are brain cells that fire both when we do an action and when we see someone else do that same action.
So they help us empathize.
They're the basis of empathy. And when you subtly mirror someone, you're essentially talking directly to their subconscious. You're saying, I get you, I'm safe, I am like you. And when the brain perceives similarity, its defenses just drop.
It fast forwards the trust-building process.
Massively. It achieves a level of rapport in minutes that might otherwise take hours of conversation.
Okay, I have to be the skeptic here because I know someone listening is thinking, this sounds manipulative, it sounds like a trick to get an advantage.
And that's a really important check. It's a fair question. The answer is any technique is manipulative if your intent isn't genuine.
If the warmth isn't real.
Exactly. If you're mirroring someone while internally thinking about how much you disagree with them or how bored you are, it will leak out. Your micro-expressions won't match. Your eyes will look dead. The mirroring will feel robotic.
The subconscious picks up on that disconnect.
Instantly. True charisma demands genuine interest. The technique, mirroring, it just opens the door for that genuine connection to happen more quickly. It facilitates, it doesn't fake.
Okay, that makes sense. So, to recap, presence and active listening show them they matter. Mirroring builds rapport and signals that you're on the same team.
That's it.
Let's build on that with part 4. Advanced layers, eye contact, and vulnerability. These feel like the skills that really separate the good communicators from the truly magnetic ones.
I agree. We've talked about attention, but eye contact is. It's attention on steroids. It's the highest form of nonverbal trust signaling there is.
Why does it feel so intense, so high stakes?
Because direct, prolonged eye contact is inherently vulnerable. In the animal kingdom, a stare is a threat. It's a challenge. So to hold someone's gaze in a friendly, professional way requires a huge amount of confidence. It says, I'm present, I'm serious, and I'm not afraid of this interaction.
So what's the right amount? Because a constant, unblinking stare is definitely not charismatic. It's terrifying.
It's very terrifying. The research points to a sort of sweet spot. In most Western cultures, you want to maintain eye contact for about 60 to 70% of the time you're listening.
Okay.
You look away briefly, naturally, when you're processing a thought, but you always come back. When you're speaking, it's a little less, maybe 40 to 50%, because you're accessing different parts of your brain. It's a sustained but soft focus.
And the opposite, poor eye contact, it just screams low confidence or distraction, right?
It completely undermines both your competence and your warmth. It makes your active listening feel fake.
Okay, now for the one that I think trips a lot of people up, vulnerability. This feels so counterintuitive. If we're trying to build up our competence, why would we ever admit a flaw?
This is the master level of social intelligence. The simple truth is that perfection is boring. And worse, it's intimidating. When someone is just too Polished, brilliant, successful, never makes a mistake. They seem inhuman. Other people can't relate. They think, well, they don't understand my struggles.
Right, and the source material says that admitting small mistakes actually makes a charismatic person more relatable. It increases their likability.
That's the key, relatability. It's the psychological bridge that vulnerability builds. By sharing a small, non-critical flaw, you humanize yourself. You signal, hey, I'm amazing at what I do, but I'm also a human who messes up sometimes.
So what's a safe way to do this at work? You obviously don't want to destroy your credibility.
Of course not. The key is you never admit a flaw in your core area of competence. A pilot shouldn't joke about having a poor sense of direction.
Right.
But a charismatic leader could easily say something like, I'm meticulous about our project plans, but honestly, if my assistant didn't track my car keys, I'd be late every single day.
Or they might talk about a lesson learned.
Perfect example. When I first started in this industry, I made the classic mistake of thinking the data would speak for itself. I learned the hard way that you have to connect with people first.
Those examples inject a huge dose of warmth. They lower that intimidation barrier and make your competence feel, well, more approachable.
It's the ultimate power move, really, because only truly confident people are secure enough to admit they're not perfect. It proves that you're not just capable, you're also safe and accessible. That's magnetic.
This is such a great framework. We've gone from the big ideas, warmth and competence, all the way down to these specific, learnable behaviors. So now let's make this real. For part 5, application, the conversation comparison, let's actually walk through 2 scenarios so you can really feel the difference.
Yeah, let's contrast the theory with what it actually looks and sounds like. Let's imagine 2 colleagues are having the exact same meeting about a new project.
Okay, let's set up the bad, boring conversation first. This is when all these charisma skills are missing. We've got 2 people, Alex, who is explaining a problem, and Ben, who is listening badly.
So right off the bat, Ben shows a total lack of presence. As Alex starts talking, Ben glances at his phone. He's got his laptop open, and his eyes keep darting to the screen.
Alex starts to explain the project's big challenge, which is getting buy-in from outside teams. And Ben, because he's not actively listening, he just jumps right in, expert speaker, as Ben. Yeah, I get it. Stakeholders are always a pain. Just cut to the chase. What's the ask? The thing I handled last month was way worse. We just steamrolled them, so what's the timeline?
Wow. Okay. So he interrupted, he minimized the problem, and he pivoted immediately back to himself. Zero warmth.
And his body language is all wrong. Alex is leaning in, trying to connect, but Ben is leaning back in his chair. Maybe his arms are crossed. It's the total opposite of mirroring. So Alex finishes, feeling completely rushed and unheard. And when Alex tries to suggest a collaborative next step, Ben just shuts it down. Expert speaker, as Ben. No, that's inefficient. I already wrote up a template. Just use this. It works. No need to waste time collaborating. Ugh. The result is that Alex walks away feeling totally de-energized. Ben might have been technically competent. He had a solution, but he destroyed any chance of rapport.
He'll be respected for his documents, maybe, but he will never be trusted as a partner.
Okay, now let's completely flip it. Let's run the charismatic conversation. Same meeting, same problem. But this time, Alex is meeting with Maria, who understands these skills.
Okay.
So Maria starts with full presence. Alex sits down, and Maria deliberately turns her phone face down and pushes it to the side. Her focus is 100% on Alex.
Alex starts explaining the stakeholder problem. Maria is doing all the things we talked about with active listening. She's nodding. Her facial expressions show she's engaged. Host speaker, as Maria. Okay, I think I see the problem. So if I'm understanding you, the real challenge isn't the solution itself. It's getting these 3 very different teams to agree on the same path forward. Is that right? Say. She immediately validated the problem and confirmed her understanding. Alex already feels heard. Then she'll subtly mirror. If Alex is using his hands to explain, Maria might start using some gentle hand gestures as well when she speaks.
And then she asks a question that shows she's thinking about the people, not just the process. Host speaker as Maria. That sounds tricky. Before we even talk solutions, tell me a bit about the history. Which of those teams is usually the most resistant? What do you think is really driving their concern?
That's brilliant. And now, for the advanced move, she's going to connect using a bit of vulnerability. Expert speaker as Maria. This is a classic too many cooks in the kitchen scenario. I ran into almost the exact same thing on a project last year. And I have to admit, I totally underestimated the political side of it at first. I learned the hard way that sometimes you need to have the coffee conversation before you can have the boardroom conversation.
And what's the result? Alex leaves that meeting feeling completely understood and supported. Maria demonstrated competence, yes, but she wrapped it in so much warmth and relatability.
The contrast is everything. Ben gave an answer and created friction. Maria gave an answer and created a powerful connection. And it was all down to those small, nonverbal behaviors.
An amazing breakdown. We've really taken this abstract idea of charisma and turned it into a clear, repeatable formula.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's about moving beyond just knowing your stuff and getting really intelligent about how your presence and your focus impact other people.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's quickly summarize the key takeaways for you, the listener, so you have a clean action plan.
First, and this is the big one, charisma is a skill, not a gift. You can learn it, you can practice it, you can get better at it starting right now.
Second, remember the charisma equation, warmth plus competence. You absolutely need both. One without the other just doesn't work.
And finally, focus on mastering the core skills. Practice active listening to assure people they matter. Use subtle mirroring to build that instant rapport. And don't be afraid to use confident eye contact and a little strategic vulnerability to make yourself more human.
It really all boils down to giving people your focus. In a world that's just designed for distraction, your undivided attention is maybe the most valuable gift you can give.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to take with you. If giving someone your full, undivided attention is truly the highest form of competence and warmth you can display today, what is one subtle shift you could make in your interactions this week? Just one small change that could immediately transform your presence.
Start small. The goal isn't to be perfect overnight. It's just about deliberate practice. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the science of charisma.
We'll see you next time.